What's changed in selling landscaping in the last 6 years? A lot has changed, and in today's episode, I'm excited to interview our senior landscape marketing strategist, Robert Felton, who's worked with me at the Ramblin' Jackson team for over 6 years. And in this episode, we talk about what's working for some of our clients for digital marketing, other things that they're doing to generate leads now. We talk about how the role of your website, of my website, of the salesperson, I believe in business and especially landscaping, has changed over the last few years. And we're gonna give you some strategies that you can use that'll help you build your digital presence quickly now to get results and over time, and why SEO, your digital presence, is a lot like real estate. Hey everyone, Jack Jostes here, and welcome to the Landscaper's Guide podcast, where we share sales, marketing, and leadership inspiration for the snow and landscape industry. Today, I'm excited to interview one of our top employees at Ramblin' Jackson, Robert Felton. He's a wealth of knowledge. Many of you have worked with Robert. He's a really smart guy with a lot of really great business ideas he's going to share today. And wanted to let you know we'd love to send you some beef jerky in our Landscapers Marketing Toolbox. So see our show notes for a link to landscapersguide.com/toolbox and tell us where to send it. All right, let's get into this conversation with Robert. All right, everyone, welcome back to Landscaper's Guide. Today, I'm excited to interview Robert Felton. He's our senior landscape marketing strategist at Ramblin' Jackson. We've been working together for 6 years.
Yeah.
I think we're celebrating 6 years in February.
That is correct.
We're
close.
We're close. We're really close, depending on when people watch this. But really excited to have you here.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here. It's always fun to come to the studio. It's such a cool place in Lyons. It's just a fun place to be.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It's been a great day. We've interviewed some clients, some client stories. You're going to be sharing their stories. You're presenting at the ProGreen Expo.
I know. I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm going to be on the big stage for once. So.
Well, and I'm excited because that was the show, the first green industry show that I presented at, and that helped us get a variety of garden centers, arborists, landscape clients that then led me to really discover that industry again. I worked at a garden center growing up.
It's kind of the beginning of it all for the green industry. Yeah.
It is, and so I'm excited for you to speak there. So today we're going to talk about that at the end a little bit, what you're talking about. But I think we want to talk about real estate. So we were having dinner last night, and we were talking about real estate and SEO. And why SEO, search engine optimization, is like real estate. And the analogy I made with you seemed to resonate with you. So
I think it made sense. I've been talking with clients and just, how the market changes and how you want to kind of have a balanced portfolio going into your marketing. You can't just put all your eggs in SEO. It's risky. It's like buying a bunch of penny stocks versus, having a mutual fund and having diversity. And investments in real estate are one of the biggest ones. So can you tell everybody else kind of what you said about that comparison of real estate to SEO?
Well, so to me, there are a lot of parallels between real estate and SEO. One is, sometimes people come to us and in the 9th month or the 12th month of working together, well, this is really expensive, and it is. It's an investment with Ramblin' Jackson, and a big portion of it is focused on organic SEO, ranking on Google, generating leads that way. And I still believe it's one of the best sources of leads for landscape companies because so many people search on the internet for landscape companies. Like there's the numbers to back it up from Google Trends, the searches for it. But then we just interviewed 2 clients today, and we have numerous others, and we look at the leads that come through their website and we ask, how did you hear of us? And it's typically the number one source. And like a house, the analogy that I was making is when you buy a house, you have your down payment, all of your closing costs. There's so much, maybe you need to fix and repair stuff. And then you have your mortgage. And if you thought about that in a 1 year period, like, wow, it's a ripoff.
Yeah.
You should probably just rent because you're not going to spend anywhere near that. But like real estate, when you're investing in SEO, it's something that a page that we build this month or this year is going to be maintained, and it's going to rank next year and the year after that. And we might use that. We have some clients that have worked with us for over 10 years, and there's pages that I personally built for them 10 years ago that still rank now and have generated thousands of leads for them. But if we evaluated it in the 6 months after launching it, the cost per acquisition, the business math around marketing and like, well, how much am I paying per lead and per customer?
Yeah.
It's going to be higher. And like a house, over time, you're going to live in it, you're going to stay with it. And the cost gets, when you think of it that way, if you look at over a 5-year period, it's one of the least expensive ways that you'll pay for marketing, because in that same time, if you were to pay for like Google ads, which I do recommend that people have some Google ads, but once you stop paying for that, it goes away. It is not an asset.
Yeah.
It's a liability that it's gone. You don't have much ongoing value from it.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, it was fun to talk to Jake Harris from Jake's Designs today and hear him talk about the Broadmoor page, because I think we made the first Broadmoor page probably 5, maybe even 6 years ago. I mean, it still ranks, it still gets in those results. And if we just evaluated the value of that Broadmoor page for that first 6 months, I mean, he got some good results, but it's I got 2 leads for this much money. But now it's like, he's got, I think, maybe even 12 pages for the Broadmoor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
he's
it's like,
killing it. And it's one of his top areas.
Yeah.
And so the other reason that I felt like SEO is similar to real estate is there's the saying in real estate, location, location, location.
Yes.
Right. So like buying a property in a thriving location, if you're investing in real estate, the location is everything. Like, are there good customers? Are you opening a restaurant in an area that has foot traffic from other people buying at retail? Or is it the middle of nowhere and it really needs to be a destination that people need to go to?
Yeah.
You're going to pay more to be on the mall with all the foot traffic, but you're going to get all those customers.
It's also the people who move quicker get a better deal. And I think that's an important way to think about SEO as well, as like Jake's one of the first people to have a Broadmoor page. I mean, other people are making them, but he's already light years ahead. He got it when it was
years
cheaper.
ahead.
Exactly.
He's years ahead. So the location thing, so like Colorado has changed so much. And so we were talking with Jake about, I think he met his wife. Did he say at CSU up in Fort Collins?
No, he was in CSU and his wife was going to school down in Colorado Springs. And he would make the drive and it took him an hour and 45 minutes. An hour and 45 minutes to get from Fort Collins to Colorado Springs.
Yeah, and so for people who are listening from out of state, like that's now like at least 4-hour drive. Maybe even 5.
Yeah.
Because the population has grown so much and there's so much traffic now and there's so many people. We have another client in the Fort Collins area, and I've been in Colorado for 15 years, and like Tinmouth it wasn't even a word I used to know how to say in Colorado. It was like this tiny little town, and now it's a thriving area, and there's Windsor and there's all these areas that in the last 5 to 10 years have grown. And because our client, Alpine Gardens, is up there in their ranking, they're getting the leads there.
And they were fast to move on a Windsor page. I mean, they knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming. And so I think in SEO, there's a certain amount of data that's available. Like there's Google Keyword Planner.
Yeah.
There's Google. You can get data from Google Ads about how much volume, how many searches are there a month for landscaping versus landscape design versus outdoor living, or there's Google Trends, there's other sources of data, but there isn't necessarily always all the data about Tinmouth or Windsor. There's just not enough searches. There's not really a reason that Google would give us that information. So that's to me where the kind of entrepreneurial part of it is anticipating the location. Anticipating and seeing, like for Jake down in Broadmoor, seeing, Flying Horse is an up and coming area. I'm going to experiment with building pages for here, and we knew the keywords, the service keywords, but then we were kind of experimenting with the geography, and it paid off because that area, that population was growing. So in our approach with clients, I think we can help them, or people listening, like, where is the market heading in your area?
Yeah, I also think it's so important that the client is an expert on their territory and where they service their service market. And I think it's funny because so many clients, they know all the best zip codes because they're used to doing direct mail, they're used to doing yellow pages. But it's like, I mean, we're kind of in a new game, and really where you need to be paying attention is, you know, where's new development? Where are things happening? You know, what's the up and coming? Because we can help, and there is some data, but I mean, a lot of it is that entrepreneurial, that gut kind of feeling, and that's really paying off for clients. The people, I mean, the Windsor page is paying off, the Flying Horse page is paying off, the Broadmoor page is paying off. So,
and this is working also in Texas. We have clients, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's different in Texas or Illinois or Virginia. Everyone thinks their area is special. It's not. It's not. People use the internet everywhere in America. So that reminds, you know, so was there anything else on real estate that you think is similar? Well, and part of it was just, you asked me like, hey, I'm getting people asking like, wow, this is really expensive in the first year. And I just thought about your own personal story. I'm not going to ask how much your house was, but you've told me. And I've bought real estate in Colorado. And man, am I glad that I did.
Oh, yes.
Because now the cost to get in now, even a year later or 2 years later or 5 years later, is so much higher. And I think that's similar to building your digital presence online, because the longer you wait, the further behind you're going to be behind the people who are years ahead of you. I just had a call with a client today who was a little frustrated and about where they were ranking on Google. I'm like, hey, dude, you're on the first page. This is probably as good as you're going to get for now. And they were like, well, what do you mean? I get emails from SEO companies who guarantee this and I'm like, cool, hire them. Like, good luck. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. But I then looked up the age of the website of the company that was outranking them, and they had a 15-year advantage. So their domain over 15 years prior to this client starting their business had 15 years of links being built to their website. And so their domain authority, their equity, if you will, in the internet is way higher. It's kind of like my parents who bought their house in the 90s, like, right? They have so much more equity in their house, whereas like I'm a little pipsqueak in the equity game
that makes total sense.
Real estate, because I bought mine 5 years ago. Whereas they're at the tail end of a 30-year mortgage. So I don't know.
I think the last thing about real estate is it's really thinking, you know, SEO and real estate, it's thinking into the future. I mean, talking about these neighborhoods, getting the most out of that equity. You mean, if we can anticipate, we can think ahead. You mean, the hardest part is those people who made the wrong decision and sold at the wrong time and did that because they were jumping around. And I mean, that's kind of how I compare it to that balanced portfolio. It's like, I mean, SEO is your retirement. It's the thing you don't want to touch. You want it to keep growing.
You keep putting in, and it pulls more out over time. So one of the things that I'm excited that you're presenting three Colorado case studies at the ProGreen Expo of 3 different landscape companies. And I'm excited because one of them is, a multi-million-dollar full service company that does design build, they do maintenance, they do commercial, they do some snow. Then we've got Jake's, who's only design build. And then also we have more of the lawn care and mowing, landscaping side with All Purpose. And so we just interviewed All Purpose, and that podcast is going to come out soon. It was really fun, and I told them on the interview that they're one of my favorite clients because they do the rest of it. Like, this company did direct mail, they do emails, they have email automations, they did 6,000 phone calls.
That was crazy,
right?
Yeah.
So they are not only doing SEO and their website is a huge part of their results, and they came here and talked about that. They did a testimonial, but I wanted to talk with you about some of the short-term strategies that we're recommending to clients, because similar to real estate, I think there's kind of the macro market, meaning like there was the housing crash of 2008.
Yep.
And then like we talked to Jake, and he's like, yeah, dude, I bought my house in 2011 and like basically stole it from like the price a few years ago. So I think there are cycles in the economy, and that my sense of the last 6 to 12 months was that we were in a lower market, and that there were fewer searches for landscaping because there's inflation, and maybe they bought their landscaping during the COVID years, and there was objectively, we can measure fewer searches on Google, and that resulted in fewer leads. But that doesn't mean you should stop doing SEO, because these cycles repeat themselves. And like, if you get in now and you've been slow and steady this year, and like when that comes back, you're going to catch that wave of search leads. Like our clients, honestly, who've been with us for 6 years, killed it.
Yeah, imagine having everything in place going into 2020. Right. Like we thought it was going to be something crazy, but it was just like, it's like the searches reached the highest point they were. And if you were the one who showed up first, you were the one who got the pick of the crop. I think the other thing is being prepared going into the next time that this demand can get that high is, not only having great SEO, but also having that sales process. I think that's something that we learned really quick was, there's so much demand and you can't waste time. You have the pick of the crop because you're ranking the best. You invested in great SEO in 2017, 18. Now you're going in 2020, 21. You're getting tons of leads, and you need to make sure that you're picking the right ones. But you've got to be prepared with a great sales process, with a great website that's user-friendly and has a process, a user experience, and you have to have great ranking SEO. So when the market does spike back, you're ready to go. You're going to get so much out of that investment, and maybe you've been paying for it for a few years, but yeah, the people who hired us in 2017 are very happy campers.
They really are. And then in the meantime, though, I think that when the market is maybe lower, that I think you need to spend more actually on marketing and actual advertising, like paid media. So that could be Google ads, it could be Facebook and Instagram ads, direct mail. And also one of the lowest hanging fruit is email. Is something that usually the first conversation I have with people is like, well, who can we email? And so we interviewed all purpose, and they're going to share their podcast is going to be great because they have service autopilot, and they know they have everything dialed in. They have over 4,000 leads in there. Some of them are customers. Or no, 6,000. So like 4,000, I think they've worked with 4,000 customers. So they've got them all tagged by, did they buy landscaping? Did they buy lawn mowing? Did they buy Christmas lights? Have they done a construction project or not? And they can like very easily, with very minimal time, send out the perfect message to those segmented lists. So,
I'm always impressed. It's like, and they have such a good process of getting people in, like they sell mowing, and then you have mowing. Oh, next one's lawn care. Okay, you have these two services. You'd benefit greatly from this one. And they can quickly filter the list, and it's like, you don't have this service. You don't have deep root watering. So you can send out an email and just quickly get that list and execute something and drum up business like that. Yeah, I sometimes compare, the advertising, spending more when the market's down a little bit. It's important to keep investing in the long term with organic. It's also, you got to kind of inspire the people to be interested in these products again. Thinking about specific products like a plunge pool or a putting green, it kind of follows you around. It's something you've been wanting. And you wish you bought it in 2021 where it was cheaper and money was cheaper, but you still really want it. And you're still going to buy it, but you kind of have to maybe inspire it a little bit more. So finding that balance, I think is important.
I think inspiring people, and that's where I think things like social media and email do come into place, especially with photos.
We're
always collecting reviews and always collecting photos of new products that we're offering, and maybe you're focusing on front yards right now.
Yeah.
Maybe people did their backyard, and now you would like to do that smaller front yard, or replace people's beds, or maybe they need a new walkway, and that's where I think that's again where I would always turn to email first. Of who has already bought from me that could buy something else is going to be your lowest barrier to entry.
I agree. And I think one other thing to always just keep in mind, and I mean, I feel sometimes every time I'm on this podcast, I say this, but it's just like, I mean, I have so many people that have 3 Google reviews and they're talking about how they need to spend money on Facebook ads. I'm like, you mean you're going to get way more bang for your buck just getting those 10 Google reviews versus throwing, I would say, maybe even several thousand at Facebook. You probably would get better results.
Right.
Just getting to that 10 mark. And it's just like people want to throw money to solve problems, but they seem to struggle with, you might have to call those clients and get those 10 reviews and that. Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, flip the thing. A dollar saved is a dollar made. So, you mean...
Well, so you were talking to me about procurement.
Yeah,
and,
I love procurement.
And so how is that? That kind of sounds like...
Yeah, it is procurement. I mean, my partner and I, we always giggle. It's like, we sometimes we're out downtown Denver, and I live maybe a mile from downtown Denver, and we'll pull up Uber, and if it's $30, Andy, I've trained Andy. He asks me at this point, he's like, not trained Andy, but he'll go, well, if someone gave you $30 right now to walk home, would you do it? And yes, I would. Almost always, like $30 just to walk 1 mile. Like I do it all the time for free with my dog. So it's like, if you flip that agenda a little bit, it's so much easier to think about money. And so many people don't think about money that way. They think, $30 to go home, I have to get home. It's like, I don't know. It's flipping that narrative a little bit. Like you could pay, someone gave you $5,000, which you might spend on Facebook, to go call your clients to get 7 more reviews. Would you do it? Yeah. For $5,000. Yeah, you want to give me $5,000 to call 7 people? Like, I'll do it for you. You know what I mean? Like that's really like people really struggle with flipping that narrative of money.
The value of those reviews could be worth that much.
I think it is.
It is, because when we Google things, like Google doesn't tell us much, but if you Google how Google determines local ranking. Yeah. They have a page about how Google determines local ranking, and they explicitly mention the review count and score. Yeah. So it's like they are telling us. If they're telling us something like that, we should pay attention. But then back to how does it impact your Facebook ads? Yeah. I don't know, if I'm going to spend $5,000 on something, I'm going to Google whoever I'm going to spend it with. Yeah. And that's where if you have a 3-star review average, like, cool, thanks for telling me about yourself on Facebook.
Yeah, and that's how I feel too. It's
good luck.
It's just funny to me. It's like they're looking to spend money, and I'm like, I mean, let's do this first. It just makes so much more sense.
So you've worked at Ramblin' Jackson for 6 years.
Yes, I have.
So I'm curious, what's similar to 2017? So you worked at Ramblin' Jackson, and then for a period you didn't work here, and that's okay. And Ramblin' Jackson became a better place to work.
It did, yes.
While you were gone, and then I called you, and I was like, "Hey, here's what we're doing," and you went and did something that didn't work out how you thought it would work out. So I'm really grateful that we.
Me too. I'm glad
and that you came back.
Both agreed to another shot, and it's been great. So,
so that was nearly 3 years ago, I think, or 4.
It was 2019. I started coming back, and then you offered me a full-time position right before the pandemic. So
that's right.
Yeah, it was February 2020.
So, that's right. So okay, yeah. So that's making sense. But I guess what I'm getting at is like, what do you do here, and what do you do here, and like, how has it changed and how hasn't it changed? I'm just curious to hear, because you've literally talked with maybe even over 1,000 landscape people.
I think it's definitely over 1,000
at this point. Like you've talked with many people. So what's your sense of like what's similar and what's different?
Yeah. Do you mean like in the market or in my position? So
both.
Both? Okay. Yeah, in the market, I mean, it's funny because we joke about it all the time. It's like in 2017, we were starting, it was kind of like, especially in certain areas, it was kind of like, you need to get on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of like, I don't need the internet, word of mouth, blah, 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 which is important. But it was just like, this kind of fight to like, you should get online, you should have pages. And now it's a lot more about how your website is. And, is it work on mobile? Is it, helping set up the sale? Is there some automation? I mean, these things, that's really the big change I've seen is like fighting to get on the internet and away from some of those traditional marketing that's really not working as well as it used to, now it's about having a better experience on your website. It's about, having that video. It's about educating your clients about things they don't understand, especially, it's a different market for the trades. Landscaping, a lot of people don't have any idea what it could cost. But, if you ask my grandpa something about construction, he'll know all the answers, and, his price point and what is today is very different.
Why does your grandpa know?
Because my grandpa grew up in an era, and he owns, one of my grandpas is an engineer, and then my other grandpa he owned a construction company.
Right. So that was, I just thought people, I know that, but so your grandpa was informed on it, whereas most people aren't as well informed, and I think that they are. I think a big trend and something that we've helped people with is they look for pricing information. Like people do so much research online for everything. I think that the reliance on salespeople has really gone down. Whereas because back before the internet, and I started in 2009, and man, was that a fight to get people on the internet.
I can only imagine.
That was where people were well, I remember I met with this law firm in Boulder. And they're like, well, we've been spending $40,000 a year on the yellow pages. And I was like, and we've been doing that for 25 years. And it was like, this is what we do, and this is how we've been doing it. And I was just like, well, how is that working in the last few years? And they're like, well, not very well. So I don't know, but they also, I think part of it was just a fear of they were resistant partly just out of fear and a lack of understanding of how the internet worked.
I think another change is kind of going back to the salesperson. We are used to kind of being qualified and understanding a product from a website. If you're buying a car, I think the car market has been the biggest change. Car salesman is an archetype from the past of nowadays I Google, I like this Subaru. Oh, I can upgrade it online. You even got a car delivered to your house.
I did. I actually bought a car from my iPhone.
That's so crazy to me.
And that was 2 weeks before COVID broke out, by the way. I so lucked out. I got a used truck, a used pickup truck.
Those are the most expensive thing through that COVID.
And then a month later, it was the most sought after thing in the world was a used pickup truck. I bought it entirely. I actually bought it from my phone from CarMax, and they delivered it to my house. I appraised my trade-in from my phone. I took photos. They had a human come and they're like, everything, you're not hiding anything. And they gave me the value that they told me they would for my trade-in and drove it away and completed all the paperwork. That was wild.
And I think that's the big change that's happening between 2017 and now is your website has to be a salesperson. You always joke about your website works 24 hours, doesn't get sick, and it's so true right now. And I can't stress how important those automations are, that information, that education. And I talk with clients about, I think what's changed in my position is, helping build that salesperson. That website is, you need something that's a win-win. It's something.
Sure. So tell me more about that, because when you started here, and I think the pendulum has swung back a bit into the lead generation camp.
I agree.
So when you started here, it was very much people were we need leads, and then it was demand for landscaping really increased, and COVID happened, and it was we need help qualifying all of these leads so we don't have to talk to all of them. And we shifted really hard into sales process and coaching people on qualification and building out pricing guides. And I'm really glad that we did, and we're going to continue doing that. So that was
a huge change.
So how do you help people with that? Because you're a key part of helping our clients with their sales process through the project kickoff at our brand strategy workshop.
It's been fun because it's kind of I've talked to 1,000 landscapers. So, there's so many similarities, but everyone is just a little bit different. Their sales process, their buying experience. And I do the project kickoff, which is the beginning of the project. It's a strategy focused meeting, and it's really talking about the flow of the website. Why would you build a website where, what is the goal? What do you want them to do? And that's what I really help them with, is getting them from, they're interested, they're playing around on the website, to educating themselves to, take action.
Right.
And that's really what we do is, we lay out these steps. We have some processes that have worked. The 15-minute call has changed so many clients' lives. And yeah,
honestly, it has.
Stop driving out there without qualifying your lead.
I think that so at many companies, so you do sales, but you also help them with their sales.
Correct.
So it's kind of like a design engineer model in some ways that we do as a company, where we're like, you're buying from us and we are selling to you, but we're also in that process, like extracting problems and identifying challenges in your sales process, and then building something that helps you. And I think that's what's fun, is like when we got a Google review from John Stanton from Dream Greener before we even launched his website.
Yeah.
And he's like, you all helped me with my sales process. And even before we launched the website, I already started closing more sales.
Yeah.
And now we've got that website launched, and I'm so excited for him to go into next spring.
Yeah.
Because then now he's got a better sales process, and the website is a part of that. So I think that's, to me, like one of the things that's changed is, and that's just partly a reaction, listening to our clients and hearing them talk about how challenging it was getting so many leads.
Yeah, and I think that win-win part is really important, and a lot of people struggle with that. Is like, people think about selling like it's kind of a one-sided thing, like, oh, this is my qualification call, I'm qualifying them, I need to go out there and get measurements. It's like, no, it needs to be something that is a win-win. So I agree. Yeah, so the client needs to be able to get excited about working with you. They need to start getting some of their questions answered, and then you need to start setting up those next steps. And the benefit of the customer loves it. You're also getting great information. They're telling you their budget. Why they're learning. They're sharing this information with you through their website, and that is what's important.
I agree, and I've always viewed sales as like problem solving, right? It's like, we're selling, but we're like solving a problem. We're figuring out a problem and solving it. And I think that's similar to selling landscaping, because the best people that we know are listening to their clients, they're designing things, they're helping them figure out. And I think what's similar is that a lot of times people don't know what they want from landscaping. They know that they want their backyard to be better, but no, maybe I actually hadn't thought about drainage. I actually hadn't thought about the gutters of my house and where the water, like, you know what I mean? All of these little things that a landscape professional would ask you and help you think about. That's adding value in the sales process. So
I talk about value propositions a lot too in that first meeting of just like, if they, you're asking them to make an investment of time and a commitment. What do they get for it? You need to kind of tell that value proposition, and a lot of people don't do that. And a website can really help support that. So
totally. Branding the value proposition of the meeting.
That's the biggest one.
Why would I meet with you?
Why do I want to do this?
Because there's resistance to salespeople. There's like, why resistance. Would I? Right, and so that's where, like, the more you put out on your website, the right info, they're like, their trust goes up and their guard comes down a little, and then you make that first meeting enticing. So we could talk all day about this. What are you presenting on at the ProGreen Expo?
I'm presenting what's working now for 3 landscape contractors in Colorado. So you mentioned them earlier. It's Jake's Designs, All-Purpose Landscaping, and Alpine Landscaping. So one's in Fort Collins, one's in Colorado Springs, one's in Pueblo. So it's gonna be kind of a fun variety of the Front Range. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's kind of fun because they've all come with specific problems, and then we've helped find the solutions, and they're all very different. But some of the tools are very, very similar that help them reach these these results. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun of like, you do need the foundation. That part's really important. And then you can kind of wiggle around in that strategic 3, but some of those core items are really important. So I'm really looking forward to sharing it.
So you've done a fair amount of webinars and things with Ramblin' Jackson.
I have.
This is, I believe, your debut.
Yeah, it's
in
my first
person.
live presentation.
So how do you feel about it?
I am excited. I'm a little nervous. I've been super assistant for you. I think you're going to be super assistant for me this time.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to being behind. I'm going to be like getting you stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
gonna be funny.
excited to film it and see
I'm looking
you
forward
go.
to it. I'm a little nervous about the tech and things like that, but that's always,
Right.
I like to talk and I'm excited. I got to figure out my timing and a few other things, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're going to do great.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, awesome pleasure working with you. And
always fun to be on the
congrats
podcast.
on 6 years of Ramblin'.
Thank you. Yeah, rambling on.
Rambling on. That's really cool. And lots of great ideas. So everyone, thanks so much for checking out today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed this. We'd love to send you some beef jerky and a marketing toolbox. It has a bunch of, actually some of the clients that we mentioned that Robert is going to be presenting on are in this field guide with like examples of what's working for them. So get inspired with that. Let us send it to you at landscapersguide.com/toolbox. My name's Jack Jostes. This was Robert Felton. And if you want to meet with Robert, by the way, just go to our website, schedule a brainstorm call, landscapersguide.com/brainstorm. Robert will have a conversation with you about your goals and your process, all those different things. And be sure to come see him if you're in Colorado at the ProGreen Expo. All right, everyone, thanks so much. Look forward to talking to you next week on the Landscaper's Guide.